Have you ever wished to be someone who is unshakable? Someone who doesn't care about criticism, rejection, loss, or betrayal? Someone who can walk through life with a calm, steady confidence, unaffected by the chaos that others seem to be consumed by? Here's the truth. You can never truly be unshakable if you keep running from the very pain that burns and tears at your soul. We've all tried to protect ourselves, to build walls that keep us safe from the world, but those walls only trap us. Every time you try to avoid discomfort, every time you push away the things that hurt, you only make yourself more vulnerable. The real strength doesn't lie in avoiding pain. It lies in facing it head-on, understanding it, and using it as a tool for transformation. As the Stoics taught us, the obstacle is the way. The pain you run from is actually the path to becoming untouchable. So, are you ready to stop hiding and start embracing the challenges that will shape you into the strongest version of yourself? If so, consider subscribing, because this journey of self-discovery isn't for the faint-hearted. It's for those ready to rise stronger than ever by mastering the art of embracing life's trials. You've always been taught that pain comes from what others say or do, the insults, the betrayal, the rejections. It's easy to think that the things we lose or the people who let us down are the ones who cause our suffering. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Pain is not as simple as that. What truly hurts us isn't the actions of others. It's the stories we tell ourselves about those actions. It's the wounds we've left untended, the trauma we haven't fully faced, the past we've chosen to ignore. The external world might throw its punches, but those punches don't land unless there's a wound inside that's already been there. If you're triggered, it's because something in you hasn't healed yet. That's why two people can experience the same heartbreak, the same betrayal, yet one walks away stronger, while the other falls apart. What's the difference? It's not the event. It's the story we make of it. It's how deeply we let it affect us. Pain only holds power when we allow it to pull us back into past wounds that we've never fully processed. You might believe that the words of others or the actions of the world are the root of your suffering, but the reality is that it's what's already inside you that allows those things to hurt in the first place. The truth is, no one can truly hurt you unless you let them. The power of their words or actions is determined by what already exists within your mind, your heart, and your subconscious. This is where real strength lies, in knowing that external factors only have as much power over you as you give them. As Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This idea is foundational to reclaiming your emotional sovereignty. What happens to you doesn't define you. It's what you choose to do with it that shapes who you are. Your strength lies not in shielding yourself from pain, but in facing it head-on, understanding it, and using it as an opportunity to evolve. Many of us spend our lives avoiding pain, thinking that if we just keep pushing forward without acknowledging it, we'll somehow escape its effects. But that's a lie we tell ourselves. The longer we push our pain down, the more it controls us from beneath the surface. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more you push it down, the harder it becomes to keep it hidden. Eventually, it will pop up with even more force, causing even more disruption. Instead of avoiding your pain, you need to acknowledge it. You need to understand where it's coming from and what it's trying to teach you. Only then can you begin to integrate it and stop letting it control your life. If you're honest with yourself, you know this to be true. Think about the times in your life when you felt hurt or rejected. Were you truly hurt by what someone else did? Or was it that their actions triggered something deep inside you that you had never fully dealt with? Maybe it was the fear of being abandoned, the feeling of inadequacy, or the deep loneliness you've carried for years. The external world may have created the situation, but the pain you felt was a response to something within you. And this is the key. Once you become aware of what's inside, you can begin to heal it. You can stop letting the world dictate how you feel. It's not the actions of others that cause your suffering, it's how you choose to interpret and internalize those actions. The power to stop suffering lies within you, not in controlling the world around you. You're not weak for feeling pain. In fact, the real weakness lies in ignoring your pain, in pretending it doesn't exist, or in constantly running from it. The true strength lies in the courage to face it, to understand it, and to let it guide you toward growth. The first step is recognizing that the power to heal is in your hands, not in the hands of the people who hurt you. No one has control over you unless you allow them to. But the moment you start to see your pain as a mirror of what's unresolved within you, you take back that power. You stop being a victim of external circumstances, and instead, you become the author of your own story. You become someone who chooses their response, who integrates their pain, and who grows stronger with each challenge. So the next time you feel hurt, ask yourself, what is this pain really trying to teach me? Don't just react to it. Don't just shut it out. Look inward and see if it's tied to something you've never healed, something you've never fully accepted. Because the truth is, your pain is not a punishment, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to understand yourself better, to release the past, and to step into a more empowered version of yourself. The world will continue to throw challenges your way. But with each challenge, you have a choice. You can let it hurt you, or you can use it to transform yourself. The path to emotional freedom lies not in avoiding pain, but in facing it with awareness and courage. Have you ever thought about why it feels like no matter how hard you try, the pain never truly goes away? What if I told you that the reason you suffer so much is because deep down you believe you can control the world around you? You try to shape everything according to your will, hoping if you do it right, the world will treat you the way you want it to. You strive to be enough, to be loved, to be accepted, to avoid rejection. But what if I told you that this need for control is the very thing that keeps you in pain? Every time you try to predict, prepare, or perfect yourself, you're building a trap. The more you cling to the illusion of control, the more you feed the anxiety and tension inside you. The world doesn't hurt you nearly as much as your expectations of it do. We've all done it. Expected things to go a certain way, anticipated certain outcomes, only to be blindsided when life doesn't meet those expectations. But here's where the real pain lies, in the gap between what you expect and what reality delivers. This is where suffering starts. It's not the rejection, not the words, not the loss. It's the internal battle, the conflict between what you think should happen and what actually does. And as long as you keep trying to control the uncontrollable, you'll keep this war alive. You'll keep fighting against the flow of life, expecting the world to bend to your will. Imagine letting go of that need to control. What would happen if you stopped forcing the world into a box that only fits your desires? What if you stopped trying to make everything conform to your expectations just so you wouldn't feel hurt? The moment you do, the moment you stop trying to control everything around you, something incredible happens. You stop being vulnerable to it. The tension that drives you, the constant feeling of being on edge, begins to dissolve. You realize that the world doesn't need to change for you to find peace. It's you who needs to change your relationship with the world. As Epictetus said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. In other words, the pain comes not from the world, but from how you react to it. What if you could free yourself from the tyranny of other people's actions, from the need to manage and manipulate everything around you? This freedom is about accepting that things won't always go your way, and that's okay. You don't need to control how others treat you, how things unfold, or what the future holds. You can still be in charge of your own response. You have the power to decide how you engage with life, regardless of what happens. When you stop demanding perfection, when you stop expecting the world to cater to your desires, you begin to breathe easier. You free yourself from the constant tension of unmet expectations. This doesn't mean you stop caring about the things that matter. It doesn't mean you stop setting goals or striving for growth. It means you release the illusion that you can control everything. You release the grip that holds you in a constant state of worry, trying to predict every turn. It's a shift from controlling what happens outside of you to mastering how you respond. Instead of holding on to expectations that life will bend to your will, you can focus on your own actions, your own reactions, and your own ability to choose how you show up each day. The key to breaking this cycle is realizing that control is an illusion. It's not about eliminating all your desires or living without ambition. It's about understanding that control over others or over the future isn't something we can truly possess. The freedom you seek is in the acceptance of uncertainty. The freedom is in allowing life to unfold as it will and trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way. This shift in mindset can be life-changing because it strips away the constant anxiety of what if and opens up space for peace and calm. You might be wondering, how do you let go of this need to control? The first step is awareness. Recognize when you're trying to manipulate outcomes, when you're striving to make things go your way. Notice the tension in your body, the worry in your mind, the anxiety that builds up when things don't go according to plan. These are signs that you're trying to control what you can't. Once you notice it, you can begin to practice letting go. Practice accepting things as they are. Instead of reacting with frustration when things don't go as planned, take a step back and breathe. Remind yourself that life doesn't need to conform to your desires in order for you to find peace. And when you start to release this control, something incredible happens. You begin to feel a sense of freedom. You stop being at the mercy of the world's unpredictability, and instead, you become the master of your own inner world. Your growth, your peace, your sense of security come from within, not from trying to manipulate the world outside of you. You are not defined by the circumstances, the people, or the outcomes you cannot control. You are defined by how you respond to them. So, what's the real secret to freedom? It's letting go of the need to control. When you release the illusion of control, you stop suffering. You can still care, you can still try, but you'll find that the less you cling to control, the more at peace you will become. You stop being a victim of life's unpredictability and start living from a place of acceptance. And that is where true freedom begins. The actions of others can hurt you deeply, there's no denying that. But what if I told you that the pain you feel isn't actually about what they do to you? The truth is, the words that sting, the rejections that devastate, the betrayals that break your heart, they only hurt because they find an open wound inside you. These wounds are not caused by others. They are parts of you that have been repressed, ignored, or denied. Every insult, every harsh comment, every failure is like a mirror reflecting a part of yourself you've been avoiding. Think about it. Why does one person's criticism feel like it cuts deep, while another's rolls off your back? It's not the words themselves that hold power. It's the story you've been telling yourself about those words. The wounds you carry are not from the outside world. They are the echoes of your past, the unresolved pain that you've never fully faced. You might be thinking, but they did this to me. And yes, people do hurt us, but they can only hurt us when we have an unhealed wound inside. If your sense of worth is fragile, if you haven't dealt with the pain of past betrayals or failures, then any reminder of that pain will land with force. It's like being pricked by a needle in a place that's already tender. This is where the power of others over your emotions lies, not in their words or actions, but in your own unresolved issues. The things you've repressed, the parts of yourself you've never fully dealt with, will continue to control your reactions and your life. But once you turn inward and face those wounds, you take back your power. The road to freedom starts within. If you want to stop feeling like a victim of others, if you want to break free from the cycle of hurt and resentment, the first step is to look inward. What are the things you've been avoiding? What parts of yourself have you been running from? The truth is, true strength doesn't come from building walls to protect yourself from the world. Strength comes from the courage to face your own darkness, to confront those deep, painful parts of you that you'd rather ignore. We all have them, parts of our past, experiences we'd rather forget, emotions we've never expressed. But as long as we avoid these parts of ourselves, they continue to hold power over us. The longer you deny your wounds, the more they control your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions. You see, the pain you feel from others is just a reflection of the pain you haven't healed inside yourself. It's not about shielding yourself from the world. It's about accepting and integrating your own experiences. The more you avoid your own pain, the more it finds subtle ways to show up in your life. It shows up in anxiety, in anger, in self-sabotage, in toxic relationships. The more you run from it, the more it will chase you. But when you finally stop running, when you finally turn and face it, you begin to see it for what it really is. Not a monster, but a part of you that needs healing. Healing doesn't mean getting rid of the pain, it means accepting it, learning from it, and letting it go. Only when you face your wounds can you stop letting them control you. Facing your darkness is not a weakness. It's the greatest strength you can cultivate. It's not about being perfect or becoming invincible. It's about being whole. You don't have to be ashamed of your wounds. They don't define you, but they do shape you. And once you understand them, once you bring them into the light, they lose their power to control you. This is the true meaning of emotional freedom, not being untouched by pain, but learning to coexist with it. When you confront your wounds, you stop reacting to the world from a place of fear and defensiveness. You no longer carry the weight of unresolved pain around with you. You stop being a prisoner of your past and start living from a place of self-acceptance. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding? What emotions have you pushed down for so long, hoping they'd just go away? The more you try to suppress your pain, the more it festers beneath the surface. But when you face it, when you finally turn to look at what's been haunting you, you begin the process of healing. The wounds you carry don't have to define you. They are not weaknesses, they are invitations to grow. Every painful experience, every moment of vulnerability is a step toward becoming a stronger, more integrated version of yourself. And while it may not be easy, it is necessary. The more you face your own darkness, the more you transform it into light. The freedom you're looking for is not out there in the world, waiting for others to change. It's within you. It's in the process of confronting your fears, your past, and your deepest wounds. And when you do this, you take back control of your life. No longer will you be at the mercy of other people's words or actions. You will stand firm, knowing that you are whole, that you are complete, and that nothing outside of you can take away your peace. The key to freedom is not in shielding yourself from life's pain, but in accepting it, understanding it, and using it to become stronger. When you face your own darkness, you become untouchable. You become free. What does it really mean to be untouchable? So many of us think it's about being unbreakable, about building walls so high that nothing can get in. We think it's about being cold, indifferent, unfeeling, and yet this is a trap. True emotional strength doesn't come from pretending that nothing affects you. It doesn't come from wearing a mask or pretending you're invulnerable. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The real strength, the kind that makes you untouchable, comes from integration, not from building walls. It comes from fully accepting and embracing every part of yourself, both the light and the dark. To integrate means to bring all of you into awareness. It's about facing your shadows, your fears, and your insecurities. It's about understanding that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to become whole. We've been conditioned to believe that to be strong, we need to be flawless. We try to push away the parts of ourselves we deem weak or broken, hoping they'll just go away. But here's the truth. The more we run from those parts of ourselves, the more power they hold over us. We end up reacting instead of responding. Every word, every action becomes a trigger. Every rejection, every failure feels like a personal attack. But when you choose integration, when you bring those parts of yourself into the light, they lose their power. You stop being ruled by the past, by old wounds, and by unresolved pain. It's easy to think that the key to strength lies in protecting ourselves, building barriers that no one can breach. But what if that's not strength at all? What if true strength lies in being vulnerable? What if it lies in being so secure in who you are that nothing outside of you can shake you? This is the path to becoming untouchable, not by hiding behind walls, but by integrating every part of yourself, no matter how messy or imperfect. When you do this, you stop reacting to the world around you. You stop being a puppet of your emotions. You stop letting every comment, every situation control how you feel. Instead, you become the master of your own responses. The Stoics were clear on this. It's not the external world that controls us, but our own thoughts and reactions. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the foundation of becoming untouchable. It's not about controlling everything that happens to you. It's about controlling how you react to it. It's about building emotional resilience, not by avoiding pain, but by facing it, learning from it, and choosing not to let it define you. When you integrate your wounds, they no longer control you. They become a part of your story, but they don't have the power to hijack your emotions. You are no longer at the mercy of what others say or do. You have taken back your power. You know who you are, and nothing outside of you can take that away. True strength doesn't lie in perfection. It lies in authenticity. It lies in being able to look at yourself, at every part of yourself, and say, "This is who I am. I accept all of it." That acceptance is what makes you untouchable. It's not about being flawless. It's about being whole. The more you integrate the different parts of yourself, the more resilient you become. You stop feeling like you have to hide or protect certain parts of you. You stop pretending to be someone you're not. Instead, you become who you truly are, and that's the strongest version of yourself. No one can take that away from you. When you understand that you don't need to be perfect, you can let go of the need to control everything around you. You no longer feel the need to make the world conform to your expectations. You stop trying to control other people's actions, their words, or their behavior. And in doing so, you free yourself. You free yourself from the fear of being hurt, from the need to please everyone, from the pressure of maintaining a perfect image. You realize that you are enough, just as you are. You don't need to prove anything. You are untouchable, not because nothing ever hurts you, but because you know your worth, and nothing can take that from you. The more you integrate your wounds, the more you become in control of your own responses. You don't react to the world based on past trauma or old pain. You respond with clarity, with strength, and with wisdom. You become the person who doesn't crumble when life gets tough. Instead, you rise. You stand firm because you know who you are, and nothing outside of you can make you feel otherwise. This is the path to becoming untouchable. It's not about shielding yourself from the world. It's about becoming so rooted in your own truth that the world has no power to knock you down. It might sound paradoxical, but true emotional strength comes from embracing vulnerability. It comes from being open to life, open to the highs and the lows, and yet remaining anchored in your own self-awareness. When you integrate your pain, your fears, your flaws, and your insecurities, they no longer have the power to define you. Instead, they become a part of you, just like your strengths, your passions, and your joys. And when you do this, you become whole. You become untouchable, not because nothing can hurt you, but because you no longer let it. The process of integration is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-mastery. It's about facing your darkest moments, your deepest fears, and acknowledging that they are part of your human experience. When you do this, you stop hiding from yourself. You stop pretending. You become truly free. And that's when you realize true strength is not perfection, but wholeness. The more you embrace your whole self, the more unshakable you become. And when you do, nothing can touch you. Most of us go through life on autopilot, don't we? We wake up, go about our day, react to things as they come, and think little about why we react the way we do. We feel anger, frustration, sadness, joy, but we don't always stop to ask ourselves where those feelings are really coming from. This lack of self-awareness is what keeps so many of us stuck, trapped in patterns we can't explain, caught in emotional cycles that seem to have no end. Carl Jung referred to this part of ourselves as the unconscious, and he was clear that it's not just some vague cloud of thoughts that float by. The unconscious is a powerful force, an active system that includes memories, desires, fears, and traumas, things we've buried deep down because we didn't know how to deal with them, but that still control us. How often have you felt a rush of anger or a wave of sadness and had no idea why? Maybe you snapped at someone over something small or found yourself spiraling into feelings of despair over an insignificant event. These emotions might feel like random reactions, but they're not. They are messages from your unconscious. They're parts of you trying to get your attention, parts of you that are buried deep and need to be acknowledged. The thing is, if you ignore these feelings, if you don't stop to really understand where they're coming from, they don't just disappear. They find destructive ways to make themselves known. They'll show up in toxic relationships, in self-sabotaging behaviors, or in irrational fears that seem to come from nowhere. But here's the catch. When you bring awareness to these parts of yourself, when you start to see the patterns and confront the emotions, you take back control. You can stop being a puppet of your unconscious. You can choose how to respond to life instead of just reacting. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Think about that for a moment. The unconscious is not some passive force. It's not just a collection of random thoughts. It's alive, and it controls your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions in ways you may not even realize. Every time you feel an emotion you can't explain, it's your unconscious trying to make itself known. Every time you act out of character, say something you don't mean, or react in a way that doesn't fit the situation, it's because you're being driven by something that's buried deep inside you. Your unconscious is the source of your pain, your anxiety, your fears, and unless you confront it, it will continue to control your life. Think about the times when you've felt overwhelmed by feelings that didn't seem to make sense. Maybe you've been in a situation where you suddenly felt panic or deep sadness, even though nothing around you should have triggered it. That's the unconscious at work, trying to tell you something. It's easy to brush off these feelings, to think they're just random or that they don't matter. But in reality, they matter more than you know. They are the unconscious pulling the strings, trying to get your attention, trying to force you to deal with what you've been avoiding. And if you keep avoiding it, it will only grow stronger. But if you face it, if you acknowledge that something deeper is at play, you can begin to heal. The key to freedom, to emotional peace, is in bringing these unconscious forces into the light. It's about shining a light on the hidden parts of yourself that control your behavior. When you're aware of these forces, you no longer let them run your life. The more you understand why you feel what you feel, why you react the way you do, the more power you have to change your responses. Imagine living a life where you're no longer controlled by unpredictable bursts of anger, sudden waves of sadness, or deep-seated fears that come out of nowhere. Imagine understanding why you act the way you do and having the power to choose differently. That's what happens when you confront your unconscious. That's what happens when you stop letting it drive the bus. It's not always easy to look inward, though. Confronting your unconscious requires bravery. It means acknowledging things you'd rather ignore: old wounds, past traumas, repressed desires and fears. But the truth is, as long as you leave them hidden, they will control you. They will show up in your life in ways you can't explain, and the longer you wait to face them, the more power they have over you. It's not about making the pain go away. It's about understanding it, accepting it, and using it as a tool for growth. When you bring the unconscious into the light, it stops controlling you. You stop being the victim of your own mind. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about understanding that we all have parts of ourselves that we've pushed down because they're too painful to face. But the more you face them, the less power they hold. And the more you confront your unconscious, the more you free yourself. You become less reactive, less ruled by fear and past pain. You stop living on autopilot, responding to life's challenges in ways that don't serve you. You start choosing your responses instead of being a slave to your emotions. So, what happens when you confront your unconscious? You begin to take back control. You start to live more intentionally. Every time you feel a strong emotion, instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's really going on inside me? The more you do this, the more you become aware of the deeper forces driving your behavior. And when you're aware of them, you can change them. You can heal, grow, and move forward. No longer will the unconscious be the puppeteer behind your every move. Instead, you will be the one in control. In the end, the battle isn't with the world around you. The battle is within. It's with the parts of yourself that you've denied, ignored, or repressed. But when you confront these parts, when you bring them into the light, you gain the power to choose how you respond to life. You gain the power to break free from the patterns that have been controlling you. You stop living on autopilot and you start living with awareness, with purpose, and with freedom. And that is the path to true emotional peace. Strength is often misunderstood. We are taught that true strength means pushing through pain, ignoring discomfort, and burying our emotions deep within. But what if I told you that real strength comes from the complete opposite? What if I told you that true strength is not about running from your pain, but about having the courage to face it? We spend so much time trying to hide from the parts of ourselves that scare us, the anger, the sadness, the fear. We think if we just push them aside, we can move forward without them. But the truth is, the more we try to avoid these feelings, the more power they have over us. Pain, anger, and fear only control us when we refuse to look at them. They fester, grow, and manifest in ways we can't always understand. But when we finally turn toward them, when we have the courage to confront them, we strip them of their power. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." That's the heart of it. The more you try to run from your emotions, the stronger they become. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more force it pushes back with. But the moment you stop resisting, the moment you let the pain rise to the surface, you take away its power. It's no longer controlling you. It's just another part of who you are that you now have the strength to face. Instead of being afraid of what's inside, you can learn from it. And in doing so, you transform it. The journey to true emotional strength isn't about building walls around yourself. It's about diving deep into the mess of who you are. It's about accepting all the parts of you, the light, the dark, the good, and the bad, and using them to fuel your transformation. The more you try to avoid or suppress your emotions, the more they define you. You might think you're protecting yourself by not feeling them, but in reality, you're handing over your power. You're giving the world, other people, and even your past experiences control over your emotional state. The world doesn't have to do anything to hurt you when you're already carrying unresolved pain within yourself. But when you face that pain, when you look it in the eye and accept it, you stop giving it power. You stop being at the mercy of things that happened long ago or things that may never happen. You start to realize that you are in charge of your own peace, your own strength. And as you walk down this path of self-acceptance, you begin to see something incredible. Nothing and no one can hurt you anymore. Because when you know yourself, when you accept all of you, the good and the bad, Nothing outside of you can shake your sense of self. The key to becoming untouchable, to becoming emotionally resilient, isn't about building barriers or pretending that nothing affects you. It's about building a relationship with your pain, your fears, and your shadows. It's about recognizing that these things are part of you, but they don't define you. You are more than the sum of your emotions, more than your past wounds, more than the hurts that have been inflicted upon you. When you confront your inner demons and allow yourself to experience your emotions without judgment, you gain control. You stop reacting. You stop being pushed around by the outside world. You start living from a place of power that no one can take away from you. True strength comes from within, from having the courage to look at the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. It comes from being willing to embrace the uncomfortable, to sit with the pain, and to learn from it. It doesn't mean you'll never feel hurt again. It doesn't mean you'll never experience sadness or anger or fear, but it means that you won't let those emotions control you. You won't let them dictate your choices or your peace of mind. When you know who you are, when you accept yourself fully, nothing outside of you can take that away. The world can't make you feel less than because you are already whole. You are already untouchable because your strength comes from within. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we need to be perfect in order to be strong. We want to be untouchable, but we think that means we have to be flawless, never sad, never angry, never afraid. But that's not strength, that's suppression. True strength isn't about denying your emotions. It's about acknowledging them and allowing them to move through you. It's about knowing that feeling pain doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And it's in that humanity, in that willingness to be vulnerable, that true strength is born. When you stop running from your feelings and start accepting them, you stop being controlled by them. You start choosing your reactions, choosing your responses, instead of letting your emotions dictate your every move. You don't need to be perfect to be strong. You need to be whole. Strength comes from accepting yourself, flaws and all. It comes from acknowledging that you are not your pain, your mistakes, or your fears. You are not defined by the parts of you that you wish were different. You are whole just as you are. And when you embrace that wholeness, when you embrace all the parts of yourself, you unlock a power that is untouchable. Because when you know who you are, no one else can tell you otherwise. You stop seeking validation from the outside world. You stop being dependent on others' opinions to feel worthy. You become unshakable, not because you never feel pain, but because you know that pain doesn't define you. You know that you are more than any emotion, more than any experience, and that nothing in the world can take away your peace unless you allow it to. True strength is not in building walls. It's in facing what's inside and accepting it. When you do, you become untouchable. Not because nothing hurts you, but because you know that nothing outside of you can control your inner peace. You are not defined by your pain, your past, or the world around you. True strength comes from within, from accepting all of who you are and embracing the journey of becoming whole. When you know yourself deeply, nothing can take away your peace. If this message resonated with you, check out one of the suggested videos on the screen. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. Together, we're learning to live with true strength.